Please tell me that's what we've been looking for.
Unless this planet has another impossible to find power core lying around, I'd say we're finally in business.
Come on. After all these months, I'm finally going home. Hello everybody, it's great to be back. I missed you all and I missed posting here on YouTube. A lot has happened in the AI space and I'm going to be catching you up on everything, beginning today with GPT Image 2, in my opinion, one of the best image model that exists out there. In this video, I'm going to be covering what's new about it, what makes it special, how you can use this in your animation and video generation workflow to sort of up your game and make it much faster, and then just how to use it in your everyday life, like for work, school, generating slides, or if you run a small business doing designs that you typically need Canva or hire a designer. I'm going to be showing you tips and tricks to get the best of this model to make it your own personal designer with you. Let's get straight into the video. Alright, first let's start with what is actually new with this model. Number one, it is now a thinking model. What does that mean? When you give it your prompt, instead of just generating the image, the model, just like GPT-5 or any LLM will think through the instructions you've given it, plan out what it needs to do before it gives you the final image. So let's look at an example here. Like in this case, I asked it to create a realistic image of a sheet of paper on a wooden desk, and using a pencil, have somebody solving this particular equation right here. And let's look at the output. Look at that. That's so amazing. The model itself reasoned through that equation and solved the math problem while drawing the image. This is just incredible that the model can reason through that and actually solve that. Instead of me like giving it the answers, putting that as text, and most models will even struggle with writing the text. It did those two right there, and as you can see, that's just amazing and quite incredible, as you can see right here. Here's another example where I simply just asked it to generate a classroom poster explaining the order of operations. So you can see right here, it's generated a very, very nice looking visual of the order of operations, put all the steps, explained it just from that one prompt, and giving me everything ready to print. So if you're a teacher, very easy for it to do things like that. All right, number two thing that is new with the model, because of this reasoning capability of the model, it's now very good at adhering to prompts. So it means when you actually do give it a very detailed, precise prompt, it follows very closely every instruction that you give it. All right, let's look at an example. So I said in this particular prompt, I said, create a realistic top-down image of a wooden desk. Place this object exactly as described. A closed notebook in the top left corner. You can see that right here. Quite amazing. A white coffee mug in the top right corner. You can see that there. A silver laptop in the center. A smartphone to the right of the laptop. You can see the smartphone right here. A small green plant at the bottom left. A pair of glasses at the bottom right. You can see it right here. And then we said a pen directly below the laptop. You can see the pen right there. And I said make the scene clean, realistic, and well lit. You can see how it followed that prompt very, very precisely. So this becomes very useful if you want specific designs. You can give instructions specifically on where you want objects to be placed, and the model follows that with no issues at all. Number three thing that's new with this model is that it's really, really great with text. The previous model was good with text. Nano Banana is good with text, but this takes it to a whole new level. I think I'm yet to see a text that I've given it that it's broken. No matter how tiny they are, it's really, really good with that. It means you can now create designs that are not just pretty, but also useful. So things like flyers, magazines, newspaper, even books. You can have it format entire books that have text for you in the way you want it to be visually looking. And let's look at an example. I gave it the text of an entire page from a magazine, asked it to design everything, the new age of AI. Let's zoom in. Look at that. All of this text is legible. That is just crazily insane. Look at even the small footnote text right here. If we come up to this other page, it's formatted everything in a magazine format, sort of ready to print. And all the text, this is not gibberish, like all the text are properly rendered. That is just insane. That is crazy. Look at that. So you could use this to design full-on magazines, layouts, blow this up, upscale it, and print out just like you would have a designer do this. Quite incredible. All right, while we're still looking at this magazine, it leads me to the number 4 thing that is new about this model. The previous model could support 3 aspect ratios. This one can support any aspect ratios that you want in any size, up to 4K size of a canvas. Why is this important? It means you can do things like this. Right now, you see the magazine, for example, I wanted it in a different dimension because it's a lot of text. So I did 21 by 1. You can see that right here. If you wanted to print, maybe you're a teacher, you want to print an A3 sheet of paper for your classroom, you can prompt it to do that in an A3 dimension and it will print it in the A3 dimension. It doesn't matter what dimensions you have, it can handle that. One of the final major things they've added to the model is that the model is now actually much better at doing multilingual text support. The previous model could do a little bit of multilingual. This is now much better at rendering text in different languages and even translating them. Let me give you a quick example. So for example, I have here a food menu, very well designed. Let's say I want this exact same food menu, but in French, because now I'm opening my restaurant in Paris. I'll just upload this and a prompt, give me this exact same design, just change the words to French. So, and that's what the model generated. As you can see, it kept every aspect of the design exactly the same. All it did was just change the text to another language. Pretty impressive. And here's another cool use case that I like. Let's say you went to a restaurant in a foreign country and you have the menu, it's in that language. In this case, again, this menu, as you can see right here, is completely in French. I want to see the exact same menu with the pictures of the food and everything in English. You can simply pick up your phone, take a picture with ChatGPT, and my prompt is keep this menu exactly the same. Just translate every French word to English, and let's see what we have. So here's the outcome. You can see it's translated that in English, French onion soup, chicken Caesar salad. I can see that now in English, the language I understand, and I still have the pictures to correlate that to see what it is that the menu item was. This is the biggest unlock for me for this multilingual feature, and it's one that I'll be using every time I travel now. I just bring out my phone, get the menu, snap it, and get it in English. So try this out the next time you travel somewhere. All right, now that we've gone through what the model is actually good at, let me show you how you can use this on your day-to-day, everyday life and use this in practice. So we're going to look at things like using this in school, for work, as a small business holder, and then I'm going to show you at the end how you can use this to unlock some new animation and video generation workflow because of some of the new capabilities of this model. Let's start by a simple one, PowerPoints, one that we all do for school and one that we do for work, how you can create very beautiful presentations using this model. So I'm going to open chatgpt.com, which is what I have open right here, and this is available also on the free plan, so you can do this for free. And I'm going to just paste this prompt, which is create a 6-slide PowerPoint style presentation as one image grid. So this as one image grid is very important. That helps it create a consistent looking image so that they have the same kind of look. And I'm going to show you how we can separate them in a second. So I'm going to then say this is the topic. Then I'm going to give it my brand colors. I'm going to say navy blue, white with gold. You see, even if I have the particular hex code of what we use for our designs, I can actually use that here. So that is going to generate. Now, while that is generating, I'm also going to show you if you have a reference of like your brand style that you use in the company, you can upload a reference for it to use. Let me show you how you do that. All right. So for this second one, I've taken, this is some examples of my brand PowerPoint. So you can just take screenshots from any PowerPoint presentation that you already have from your organization. In this case, I'm going to upload that here as a reference. And you can see I've removed the brand colors that I've asked it to use, but instead I've added a prompt to use this uploaded PowerPoint design as a style reference, keep the same visual feel, color, and spacing and all. And then let's go ahead and generate that. All right, the first one is done. You can see I have a PowerPoint style. I did ask it to use a lot of illustrations, so that's why you can see it has a lot of illustrations the way they look like so. Now it's in one grid. How do you actually get this as individual slides? The reason why I did it in one grid is so that they can look consistent and look uniform. Now I'm gonna then close this and say, give me just slide one as one image. And I'm going to do 16 by 9 because of my PowerPoint aspect ratio. And I'm going to hit send. Now it's going to extract that first image and give it to me in a much higher resolution version of it in 16 by 9. I'm going to go ahead and do this for all of the 6. And I can take this now to PowerPoint and just extract them and put them as images in my PowerPoint. So as you can see right here, this is now just the first slide. Very clean, very nice. I can download this and take that to PowerPoint. So once that is done, now I'm going to say, give me slide 2 as one image 16 by 9, just the same thing. It's going to go ahead and generate that and so on and so forth. And then you can take that to PowerPoint and put that in your slides, and you have your beautiful slides ready to go. So sometimes I realize it starts recreating the images to not look exactly. So what I started adding in the prompt is keep everything same as the original grid image. So adding this terms to keep it a lot more consistent. Now back to our other example where we actually uploaded a sample template from our organization. You can see it kept to those style. If I look at back the original style, this is what I gave it, and it's kept to those style, it's kept to those colors, still maintaining the illustrated look because I asked it to do an illustrated look. That's why it looks a little bit illustrative and cartoonish. That's what I asked it to do. If I asked it to use realistic images, it would have also used realistic images like what we have in the corporate one. So you can see easiest and quickest way to get beautiful looking PowerPoints. All right, number 2. The major thing I see most people using this to generate today is flyers and designs for business, events, and things like that. Let me show you how to make them better and not look generic. Nowadays, when I see anything generated by this new model, I can like, oh yeah, that is ChatGPT generated. But there are ways you can actually make them better and not look generic. So here is a poster that a prompt I just put. I went to chatgpt.com and I said, generate a music concert flyer titled The Crown Festival taking place on the 4th of July, 6 p.m. Come have the biggest summer fun. That's the text it's supposed to have. And here is what it gave me. There is nothing wrong with this. Looks beautiful, looks nice, but I can already one of the biggest telltale I can tell from this model is it likes this brush script font. So you're gonna see them. Just pay attention to them now. You're probably gonna now start seeing them now that I've mentioned it. It always likes to use this brush script font for everything. It likes its icons. In this case, these icons are fine, but very similar. You'd see this location icon, and you're gonna see the calendar icon. Like it likes to put that for dates. In this case, it hasn't done that much. Nothing wrong with this. It's fine. It's good to use, but you can make them more personalized so that they don't all just feel generic and everything you generate just looks ChatGPT generated. And the trick is in the prompt. Like I said, the model is already very good at prompt adherence. So if you actually prompt very detailed what you want to see in the flyer, if you even know the kinds of fonts you want to use, you can describe them and it will generate that for you. But now, if you are not good at prompting, you probably don't know what you want, the easiest way to do this is to find a reference image for it to use. And a good site, you could go to Google, just search for like music concept flyer and they'll come up. So I'm here on this site that says Elegant Flyer, and they have these flyers for free. They actually give you templates that you can download for free in Photoshop, but let's say I cannot edit in Photoshop, but I just want my flyer to look something very similar to what this is. So I'm just going to take a screenshot of that right here and then head over now to ChatGPT. All right, so I'm here at chatgpt.com and I'm going to put the image as a reference. Because that has an image and I would want it to also have an image, I'm going to copy here an image of myself playing the guitar so that we kind of match that design at the top. All right, I just added one extra prompt, not so detailed. I just say use the design aesthetics from the reference flyer attached to the design and add the accompanying image of the male with a guitar to the design. Now let's see what it does with this updated prompt and style guide. All right, so here's what we have now. Whether that's a better looking design for a summer event, I don't know, but it adhered more to the style that I gave it. That's the entire point that I'm trying to show you here. And it doesn't just look like the generic ChatGPT flyer that you see everywhere. So this could be for a business flyer, like an event, whatever it is. You can just go on Google Images, search for a similar style flyer that you would like, upload it onto the image, and then tell it to use that aesthetics. That way your flyers start looking a little bit customized and not generic like everything else that you see from everybody. All right, finally, let me show you a new trick that you can use to speed up your animation or video generation workflow, as well as reduce the amount of credits that you waste in the video generation model. We're going to take advantage of the fact that we can do now unlimited amount of aspect ratio, and the grid size can be as big as you want it to create all our shot list in one image. Because the model is very good and coherent with that, then we can take that shot list to use it as an omni reference to do an image to video generation. It's a really, really big unlock. Let me show you what I mean by that. So I'm here in ChatGPT. I'm going to paste a prompt for my script. I said create a storyboard grid for a short 3D animated scene about Leo discovering a glowing robot in his garage. Now I said make it 8 frames in one wide image. Each frame should be 16 by 9. So, and I describe what I want to see in each of the frames. So number 1, Leo enters. Number 2, he hears a strange sound. Number 3, he kneels. Number 4, a tiny robot. So I went all the way there to number 8, the garage flips a blue light. Now, I didn't even mention what the dialogue should be. I left it open so that it generates the dialogue for me. If I had the dialogue that I wanted it to say, I would put the dialogue right there and it would generate that. So let's go ahead and send it to the model and see what it does. All right, you see, beautiful. It has generated all the scene list for me. So now I can look at this. If this is visually what I want, that's great. If not, I can prompt edit. So I know finally what the video would look like. Now, if we take this and combine it with the model like Adherence, which is really, really good at following also prompt instructions and adhering to that, we have magic. So I'm going to go to Runway, which is where I'm going to be running Adherence, and we're going to upload that image there. So I'm here on Runway. I'm going to go under References. I'm going to drag and drop that image. And then I'm going to paste again the similar prompt that we gave to ChatGPT, and then click on Generate, and let's see what it does.
Another day, another invention. Whoa, you can't be real.
Destination, coordinates locked.
A map? To where?
I'm going to be covering that a lot more when I do my Adherence deep dive video, which is coming up soon. So do make sure you subscribe to the channel to see that when that video comes out. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up so that this video gets recommended to more people. Like I said in the beginning, I'm really glad to be back. I have a lot planned in the pipeline, so do expect to see a lot more videos from me. Thank you for stopping by. I'm going to catch you in the next one. Make sure you keep learning. Bye.